Welcome back to Wolves After Dark. Me and Ashwin are both here today, both in the same city, just in different apartments. But Wolves win. And I guess my new ritual at the beginning of every show is Wolves win something to something. But because I never remember the last
105 to 101.
But yeah, Wolves win. Beat the Heat. And I believe this makes them 9-8 on the season now.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting. What are your thoughts after this win?
It was never in doubt. We were down 16-18. I was kind of expecting this to happen. I was expecting us to kind of go on a tear because we were just bricking everything. The system was going okay. We weren't like really playing with each other very well, but we were trying and we were forcing things, and maybe it was a little bit of costly turnovers against a very disciplined team. But then we just like had a halftime adjustment. We just like cinched up that belt notch of belt buckle a bit, and that third quarter was insane. That third quarter was like some of the best crap I've ever seen. Like we got that technical foul and we just turned into a different team.
Yeah, that was an example of a technical foul working to your advantage. There's a lot of techs that happen, and we've had some in the past where we've like criticized Towns and other players for getting techs in moments where like it's not a moment that's, and like even tonight Towns did get a tech in a moment where I was like, this is not helping. And to be honest, at the time, I didn't even think Ants was a good technical. I thought it was a bad technical.
I thought it was so too.
And then I thought he was going to get ejected because he
just kept going. He kept going. Like, staring at him.
I don't understand how the refs let them do that, but they did, thankfully, because then Ant and the Timberwolves went off in that third quarter. Speaking of which, welcome Jake Erickson. That third quarter 3-point contest was due. We were missing
third splash, bro.
Seriously.
Yeah, that was great.
Man, Jordan McLaughlin was electric tonight, mainly in the third quarter. But
then he didn't see the floor again.
Then he didn't. That was kind of weird. I didn't understand that when that was happening, because I was kind of hoping for a fourth quarter where he could kind of continue that excitement of the crowd. Because like the first three, the big three that he hit, it was a big three, but the crowd didn't go like that crazy. But then he kept hitting him, and the crowd each time was like, yes, give him the ball, give him the ball. And that was super fun. But then I was like, man, maybe we'll have more of him in the fourth. But no, instead we had D'Lo, who only had 1 point up until like the last 2 minutes or something like that.
At one point it was just like on a free throw, a technical free throw. Funny, right? Like that third quarter could have actually imploded on us. We were trying to ride this momentum, and then Ant had a heat check three and it missed, and then Cat wanted to get in on the action and missed, and I believe Jalen Noel tried to hit a three and missed, and all of that turned into transition points for the Heat, and they played pretty well. Like they have a really like, I'm not going to say fucking hats off to the bench, but their team is just well disciplined, and they have like players like Kane and Hightower doing way more than their role, which is sitting on the bench, right? So they're shorthanded again in a back-to-back that last night they went into overtime. They had a lot of energy, and despite us missing a lot of shots, they were still able to take it to us in the first half. And this is a case of studying that trade that went in the offseason, and like, was this the trade? Like, were these the teams that we were wanting to play, and with this team, with this trade? The answer is no. Like, we can't have Gobert and Cat out there at the same time. Like, it doesn't feel like when it's working, it's working. But man, I feel terrible for Gobert because like we weren't giving him any shots. He was just expected to do everything, and he was getting terrible calls. And then, here's like the benefactor of all of that is Cat getting 30 points and like Ant popping off for 30 points. And, you know what I mean? Like, so here's Gobert not doing anything. But then when it mattered, when Cat inevitably falls out on games, Gobert comes in and ice in his Gobert. Gobert.
That was crazy. Although he has been shooting free throws much better lately.
Yeah. Wow.
It's great. I mean, he needs to. Like you were saying, like I feel bad for him because he's just like he's in this weird situation where, I think Jim Pete on the broadcast was like saying that he wanted the ball or something like that. And it's like, well, like I don't know. There's a lot of things with Gobert that are concerning when he has the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I get that, like we should be getting him the ball from the dunker spot, lobs type situation. But we're just a team that for decades have not done that. So we're just not used to it. You go run back and forth. True. I mean, that's
what he did for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh man!
But also, the thing that's kind of annoying to me about this is that I can feel from our team this sense of like, oh, Rudy's got the rebounding. I don't have to even try. There was this one play I wish we could bring it up on stream, but there's no way to do it without probably getting copy striked or something. But there was a clip. Towns, I think, shot a 3, and D'Lo is just standing directly under the bucket. This was like 3:47 to go in the fourth. The way D'Lo was just standing there and staring at the basket, like he is not ready for a rebound.
Not ready.
I understand that he is like one of the shortest guys, but like you got to try. It was just like it was just such an example of like, oh, Rudy's got it, and it's like, well, Rudy can't be in 180 degrees around the rim. Like that can't happen. So yeah, I don't know. There's just plays like that concern me. And not that I'm going to get on this big tangent after a win, but I mean, tonight was one of those nights where you kind of think, I wonder if we could have just kept our roster as is and won this game.
Yeah. Like the answer is probably yes, but like they're depleted, and like let's say they were full strength. What is our paint, defense bringing? When Jimmy's all about mid-range and, Hero is from the 3-point, line, and Strus was just popping off against us like he's Klay Thompson. It's crazy. So just more questions about the composition of the roster. However, I'm not here to really bag on our team right now. We were just on like the brink of collapse. And what happened was we took a break and then they went on a run, right? It's like we are the reason why we're winning again. So just want to tip our hats to each other, just like we stopped podcasting, they started winning. It's fucking
great. They did. I legit also had a moment during this game, even though I was kind of in the same boat as you, as like, I mean, even though we were down a bit, it still kind of felt like we're going to win this game in ways. So I wasn't really like too high or too low at any point in this game. But there was a point when we were down almost 20 that I was like, this is because Ashwin and I are doing a show together.
I thought the same thing too, man. I did. I'm like, I'm here sitting down watching this game.
Yeah, we're like studying over, watching every play, and then it's like, oh, okay, of course, another 20, 30-point blow up.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, those other games have been really good though to watch. See us kind of come to form to some extent. That road trip was so healthy for us. We have no distractions. We don't have home to be like our blanket, like after go home and cry to. We have each other. So it's like, let's go home or go out with each other and bond over each other, bond over dinner and stuff like that. That's cool. That's great. And it helps build things for games like this. But we came out so flat, and we're always so flat at home, and we got to find a way out of it. Maybe, find ways to get drills during the warm-ups to like get plays running during warm-ups. Just like figure out something that like gets us into speed, because it takes us a quarter and a half to really figure it out, like at home at least. It feels like it. I also feel like we play off the crowd really well, like and we play to the crowd. So the crowd's up and excited. We ramp up our intensity. We want Ant wants the ball. Ant wants the shots, and same thing with like the crowd, like kind of like quiet for the opposition on the road. Like we want to keep that crowd quiet. It's like pretty fun to see that. Like the hostility in Philadelphia was interesting to see.
Yeah.
And like how Ant was able to just like play defense and wall up Embiid, and that was crazy, and it was fun. So like the team is improved. The team is looking different than the team prior to your move. And I was going to ask you, but I didn't because I was a little afraid. Like you would have gone to this game, wouldn't you?
Probably. Last year I missed the Heat game because I was scared of COVID, and that was the Ant dunk that didn't count game that we ended up winning. That was like super exciting, and that was like the first game I decided not to go to last year because of like the rise in COVID cases last winter. So I definitely would have been at this game.
That would have been a stressful game to go to. I think this game would have been pretty stressful, but at home, like watching it didn't feel as bad. And just because, like, who are they? Like, these are the second tier, third tier players that we need to overcome. There's got to be a moment in the game, and thankfully it happened early in the third, where it's like the switch is just going to be on. Cat's going to figure things out, Ant's going to turn on another switch. Things are going to start rolling in our direction. Shots are going to fall in. I mean, Jaden McDaniels had a near perfect game, and you didn't even know he was out there. He was like so crazy efficient. It was Ant and Cant for the most part for the entirety of the game, and a nice healthy splash of Noel and Prince, and anyways, yeah, and Splash Bro himself, J-Mac, and I think that was a big part of how we got ahead of the game. I think we just rode a momentum and hit like 6 threes in a row, and that's all it really takes. Like we were down by like 18. That's because we were down by 6 threes. Really, that's like all it was. So
yeah,
eventually the time will kind of catch up to them, and they're going to miss shots, and we're going to make ours. So I'm glad we found it in this game, and usually it takes more than one game to get that rhythm back, but I'm glad we found it.
True. Well, you want to move on to the tier list?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Life is kind of coming pretty fast here for everyone. So these shows, at least in the next couple of weeks or so, you might have me in and out. The shows might be shorter here and there. And hopefully we'll get into a groove, come in the new year or come back to like mid-December. But, I would love to say and take this time to say, welcome to Seattle, Cameron. Thank you so much for, carrying this shit for so long. And it's been a joy to do this with you for so long. And Cameron, if you haven't already, you should like and subscribe and comment if you want. Who's your favorite Timberwolf?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just start it like that. Who's your favorite Timberwolf? Leave that comment below, and we will not respond. Or we will.
We might respond, only if it's really good.
And you know what? Shout out to Ian Benjamin.
Seriously.
That's all I got to say.
Ian Benjamin, legendary commenter.
Legendary.
Every video, it seems, so shout out. I know you're watching. So
yeah. And don't forget to vote on the tier list in the Discord. Yes. Link is in the description.
JBX. Yes. All right. Well, we've got a couple bench players that we probably should talk about, but we can talk about quickly. And I don't know if Nas is one of them. Maybe I'll take Nas out. I was thinking Nas at first, but maybe it's really only 7 players. Oh, no, there's J-Mac. I was like, somebody's missing.
I feel bad. I feel bad for Bryn Forbes. It looks like he's like not part of this team, not part of this roster, not part of the unity. He was kind of like, we were 0 for 12 from 3 or whatever, and then Jim Pete's like, oh, that's why we bring in Bryn Forbes. He doesn't really get the ball in his hands. I feel bad for him. But at the same time, we got our own problems right now, and life moves on, and we are going to be better with or without Bryn Forbes. Like, he's not going to be the difference maker on this team. So
yeah.
Funny how in the offseason it was like, ooh, that's our Michael Beasley replacement.
And then Michael Beasley, or what am I saying? Malik Beasley.
Sorry.
You made me say Mike.
Yeah.
Malik Beasley is going crazy in Utah right now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What's going on over there?
Yeah, also, what is happening in Utah? I pinned this comment earlier, but Utah 12-6, what is happening?
What is happening in Utah?
What is happening? Or what was my thing that I kept saying last year?
What are we talking about?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Utah edition.
That is a very Utah thing. All right. Well, we'll start with a good one. Let's start with Baby Mac. I have no stats in front of me.
Yeah, 12 points, 16 minutes, 4 for 5 from the floor, 4 for 5 from 3. Made all of his shots except for the one that I said. 3 assists through 2 steals, 1 really sick steal, kind of like a cornerback interception type of steal. That was pretty sick.
That was.
And team high off the bench +6. A grade in 3, 2, 1. A.
I borderline want to say A1 just because of how fun that sequence was, but it was just that sequence. And like he didn't get many more minutes, which is what we talked about earlier. So, but 12 points in 16 minutes, and realistically, those 12 points probably happened within like a 4-minute span.
Yeah.
That was super fun. So I think A is well deserved, if not an A+. But obviously,
yeah, A+.
Yeah,
keeps their bench, their reserves honest. They need to keep off. They need to can't sag off of J-Mac, and they did, and they paid for it royally. And I love that we got the ball back to him. There was a really cool play where J-Mac gave the ball to Cat. Cat drove past him and then turned around and whipped it right back to J-Mac, and J-Mac hit that wide open 3. Building chemistry on the court, 24 seconds at a time.
Yeah, That's true. That's a good little tagline. All right. Next up, Jalen Noel.
Yeah. Thank you for that introduction. 9 minutes, 5 points, a couple turnovers, 2 assists. Doesn't matter. No threes though.
Yeah.
But he had that really sick and one.
He did. That was actually that was like such a well polished and one. I love it.
I loved it. We never see that from our team.
No.
Yeah. That's like what we see every superstar get. Anyways, great. In 3, 2, 1.
C. I honestly, maybe even a D, because I hope for more. Like, I want threes from him. I want more scoring off the bench. I mean, J-Mac was providing that. Baby Mac was providing that. But, like, I don't know. I just need more. And he only played 9 minutes, did you say? Yeah.
Can't really complain about his minutes here or there. Like, he had 4. He was 7 shots in 9 minutes is pretty insane. That's what he's there for. That's what he's there for. His 2 makes were layups, and one was an and one. And my favorite part about Jalen Noel's game now is not his 3-point shooting. It's the fact that he pushes pace. When he has the ball in his hands, he's driving to the rim recklessly, or sometimes even within himself. But it's like really at a much faster pace than people are expecting. And we need free basketball. We need free points sometimes in this game, in these games. So that's what he's trying to bring.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Do you have any other thoughts? Sorry, I just gotta monopolize that.
Nope, that's okay. I mean, I don't want to talk about him more than the minutes that he was in the game, so we're good.
Yeah. All right, Naz Reid. Yeah, let's go. Naz Reid, 16 minutes, 9 points, team high, -25 on the court.
Holy shit.
But 4 rebounds, a couple free throws. I feel like he got a bad whistle tonight too.
He did.
But agreed. In 3, 2, 1.
C.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's all I have to say too. Like, he's just really there as a body to spell minutes, and that's what I like a lot about what we're trying to do with this roster. Is like we're trying to stagger Gobert and Towns every minute on the floor, and sometimes we'll have 2 bigs out there, and that includes Naz Reid. But Naz Reid is expected to do quite a bit, but he doesn't need to. He plays really within himself, and he's way more athletic than he shows. Than he lets on rather. So
yeah, he did have that one really nice reverse layup. Under the basket. That was really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then Prince, maybe like one of the heroes of our bench, 30 minutes, 3 for 7 from the floor. However, 5 turnovers, 4 fouls, but 7 points in 30 minutes. You have a grade for Torian Prince in 3, 2, 1.
C.
Just
kind of what I expect.
It's what I expect.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's good.
I think he's playing some good D on Kyle Lowry and Strus, getting him out of his rhythm. Like eventually Strus is going to come back down to earth, and it doesn't have to be Torian Prince on him. It can be like me, and he'll start missing. But like it was great to see like Torian Prince get in front of him and get Kyle Lowry a little flustered and whatever. But at the same time, 5 turnovers. I think he had butterfingers tonight, as well as he was passing the ball into space as opposed to the player. Yeah. And I think we were just kind of a little too tentative against the zone tonight, and I think we didn't prepare adequately. Should we even prepare against zones? Typically, we shouldn't, but apparently some teams deploy that, and then we just roll over. We don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's our kryptonite now, so we have to figure out how to do it. And I feel like we started to a tiny bit, but it just ended up being a talent contest of who was the better shooters down the stretch. So
yeah. Well, on to the starters. And Cameron, did you see D'Angelo Russell play at all today?
No, not really. I did see him take some shots near the end of the game where I was kind of like, why is he taking these shots when he hasn't done anything? Yeah. And then the only other time I noticed him was one of the last plays of the game where he played good defense, I think, on Strus.
Yeah.
And then went down to the other side of the court and pumped up the crowd. That's all I remember. That's all I remember.
Well, in 28 minutes, he managed to get 3 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. I wonder why he had the stats he did. However, we got a win. We don't need to complain too much about him. However, a grade for him in 3, 2, 1. D.
Juancho? I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right. Like, I shouldn't go too hard on him because we didn't lose because of him. We won the game. And on top of that, like there were times throughout the night where I was like, man, this is another terrible night for D'Lo.
Yeah.
But, not that you can ever have like not that it's ever acceptable to have a bad game from your point guard, especially your point guard that you're paying $30 million. But, there's certain games where I've made excuses for whether it's Ant or Cat or others, where it's kind of like, they didn't play well, but we didn't necessarily need them to play well. Like we had other players that stepped up for that, so they didn't force it too much to ruin it. That's sort of what I felt like with D'Lo tonight. But still, like that's pretty bad for the contract that he makes and the role that he has on this team. So,
yeah, I don't know, man. $70 million for 7 points tonight. That was pretty cool. So D'Lo, I would say between D and Juancho for sure. We were giving J-Mac an A+. Let's give this guy a D-.
Okay.
However, he had that shot. He had that technical free throw he made him. That's whatever. That's call to action. He didn't get in the way of Ant or Cat tonight. I mean, in a way that's okay. That maybe is a positive. But I don't know. I like aggressive D'Lo. I like that money makes sense when he's scoring, and that's not what he was doing tonight. So, and he had all that time off, and Lowry was kicking his ass. In the other spectrum of the salary, at what cost? 0 field goal attempts, 0 3-point attempts as well, 0 assists. Who am I talking about? Of course, Mr. Rudy. Go run back and forth. I love that name. 31 minutes, 4 points, 4 fouls, 2 blocks, 9 rebounds, but 4 clutch free throws at the end to seal it for our boys in blue/white/ 1,000 different colors. In 3, 2, 1.
See?
Yeah.
It's too hard to gauge this because, like,
I cursed him, my friend.
We both cursed him, but I don't know. I just like I'm struggling to come up with words for this because it's like how many rebounds did he have?
9.
Man, maybe it's not even a C. I don't know because like there's moments where like I'm just like I didn't watch enough of Rudy in Utah to know if there were all of these times where he gets his hand on the ball, rebounding it, and then loses it. Like, is that normal for Rudy? Like, I don't know. Please tell me there's somebody from Utah in the chat here.
It's crazy, right? Watching him try to get rebounds, and he's using his hands and his fingernails, and he's not using his body to box out. And when he does use his body to box out, it's like a foul.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. I don't know. Like, fundamentals are there and everything, and he's probably at moments the best player on our team.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the fuck he's doing out there half the time. So.
And he's getting I do think he's getting. I think he's getting a different whistle. I think there's a different whistle in Minnesota. I just do. And I think part of that is, it's just me coming to realize that, like, when we had Pat Bev, like Pat Bev was doing the Kyle Lowry things tonight, where he's going up to the refs, talking to the refs, saying, look at this. And he's putting the refs in awkward situations where they kind of are forced to make calls. And sometimes it benefits the Wolves if there's a player on the Wolves that is doing that. But we don't have a player that's doing that. The only one is Ant, and when Ant does it, it's going to be a technical, or when Towns does it, it's going to be a technical. So, you need somebody like that that's going to do that. And I think there's a little bit maybe of that in Kyle Anderson, but it's not to the level of Kyle Lowry and not to the level of Pat Bev.
No.
So I think that hurts. But it's just different. I mean, like, there's these touch fouls that are happening that I just don't think were happening previously in his career. But I could be wrong. Again, like I said, I haven't watched a lot of Utah previously, but I just don't remember Rudy being this foul prone.
Yeah. Travis Hawkinson, $40 million. That's not a C. That's a D. He played most of the fourth, and I didn't see him out there except for the free throws. He played a lot of the second half, and he got just a bunch of fouls. And I feel demand the ball, throw yourself at your teammates and say, I'm open.
Mm-hmm.
My availability is going to, my ability to just dunk it is going to open up the game for you. And, well, he should be getting at least 10 lobs a game, and he's going to get maybe one every other, right? Because we are still trying to figure out how to integrate him, and it's going to take the whole season rather than, I thought, just the preseason. I also feel strongly that you brought this up where we are relying / trusting / just becoming Rudy Gobert enjoyers out there on the court, where he's just getting the rebound, and we expect that, and that's not the case. He's maybe the league leader in rebounds, but he doesn't get them all, and we're a pretty atrocious rebounding team, and we need to sack up, and the whole team needs to come to play in his defense, and for him, and then for Rudy Gobert. Because Mr. Run Up and Down doesn't get the ball on the other end, right? At least I feel like Vando was okay with not getting the ball, but he would find his way to get the ball. Gobert, I don't think rebounds offensively very well, and when he does, it's like I don't know where the ball's going, right? So, at least I don't have to cringe anymore because he's making his free throws. But yeah, Gobert, D- with D'Lo.
I think I can get along with that. Honestly, I had no idea what to say, so I just said C. But D-. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We really.
I feel bad for him though. Ultimately, right now, currently, he's excited. He's happy to be here, but deep down, he's frustrated. He wants Ant to give him the ball. He wants Cat to look for him more. D'Lo doesn't know how to use Gobert yet, and I thought that was going to be our bread and butter in a lot of ways. Too. So, it's kind of a culmination of things because he doesn't have the ball in his hands. How can he impact winning? It's without the ball in his hands. So it's kind of frustrating, I bet. So
yeah. Well, I could tell the Timberwolves Daily must be over because we've got a lot of new viewers in here. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. We do this after every game, and we usually try to go live after Timberwolves Daily, but we're a little bit of in a rush tonight. So, but yeah, so we're just finishing up our tier list. Who's up next? Towns, it looks like.
Yeah, we can go Towns because I think the best players are coming up next. Towns, by the way, what a killer month.
Yeah.
He's been playing ridiculous. He's been playing prime Cat, prime Meow in November as opposed to Stray Voltage, where we were talking about Stray Voltage this time last year against Milwaukee and whatever, or not, like the game prior to Milwaukee, right? Like, he's just come into his own.
Yes.
This was kind of a coming back to earth a little bit moment for him. The second half was not so kind to him. Had a ton of fouls, and he fouled out and all that jazz. But in 35 minutes, 8 for 15 from the floor, 25 points, a plus 14, with 9 assists and 8 rebounds. Our triple-double watch, part 2 of the target centers, a grade for him in 3, 2, 1.
B?
C?
So, okay, if anybody's new here, C is what we expect out of a player. And I completely agree with what you said. I think that we are getting to that point where mid-season, took a long time last season to get to this point where he was just playing pretty good basketball overall. Actually, I'm changing it to a C because I am remembering some moments tonight where I was unhappy, but he still is so much better. He's playing a lot more controlled. We're not seeing such egregious moments out of him, but there still are a couple lingering ones around. But this is still he's still playing a lot better, making better decisions, even though there's always going to be some bad decisions with Cats playing. But
this would have been an A, potentially A1. Honestly, the first quarter was so big for him. No one else had anything going, and he was he took it over. He had a different aggressive bone in his body, and I love Cat when he's aggressive, when he's featured, and when he shows out, and pumps, flexes his chest and puffs out and all that stuff. It's really cool to see because he is obviously the best player on the court so often. Okay, so then he hides, and then he comes back, and then he's in foul trouble, and then he hides, and then he's on the bench, and he's not doing much. Fourth quarter had 1 point. Second and third quarter, he barely, had any impact. I think he might have had a 3. I forgot. But it's just, there's a Jekyll and Hyde with him, and the first half was pretty incredible. We were not in this game without him, and the second half we kind of played without him. we had him, but we didn't use him, and we didn't need to because we had 3 other boys running it from the 3-point line. But Carl trying to insert himself into that kind of actually ruined the flow, in my opinion. And then fouls started happening. The creep walk kind of started happening with Strus and Lowry getting to the free throw line and getting us in the foul trouble and stuff like that. And got under his skin and stuff. And that's Cat's bad for getting that offensive foul, that tech, all that stuff. Still kind of some bad things. However, I'm going to shut the fuck up. He was awesome until those moments.
Yeah.
And I don't need to talk about those bad moments because we won. And he wasn't a detriment to our team. No. I wish that he didn't foul out because he had something in his tank. He wanted to show out, for his squad tonight. And in the first half he did.
Yeah, I agree. The first half was really fun to watch. Second half a little less. So I put him in C. I put him at the top of C just because he did have a really good first half. But
9 assists, man. This is something good. I saw potential in rookie year. I really wanted to call him I wanted to call him the point meow because I really thought that we could actually get a lot of Brad Miller flow from him, through him, right? Play on the perimeter. He can dish really well. He was playing with Jaden McDaniels almost perfectly tonight. So big credit. Yeah. Big shout out to Cat's involvement with getting Jaden involved and J-Mac and other players and trying to get Gobert involved. That's great. And that's kind of a nice leader from behind, he leads from, as a team player as opposed to imposing his will and being a long a loudmouth kind of leader. He's the other guy. He's the passive leader. And I have much respect for that because I view my life like that too. Anyways, without the straight voltage, Jaden McDaniels, 32 minutes, 7 for 14 from the floor, 3 for 6 from 3, 18 points, plus 18, team high, plus 18, to go along with 3 assists, 4 rebounds, and only motherfucking 2 fouls.
This is Jaden, you said?
Jaden.
Jeez.
Big Mac. Cheese upon bread in the middle. You couldn't really see it on him, though. A grade for him in 3, 2, 1.
B? A. Yeah, maybe it's an A. I have less strong feelings about it, but this was a really good game for Jaden. This was a Jaden game where you don't necessarily, you don't have the crazy stat line. The fouls only being a 2 is a crazy stat for Jaden. But this is just a high quality basketball game. One thing I did notice, this is totally not off topic, but this is just kind of a random one-off comment. But something about his 3-point shot, he does this thing where as he's shooting it, he kind of just moves to the right as it's happening. And I feel like he's missing to the right a bit. So I don't know if it's I don't know why that's happening, if that's intentional or what. Not the missing, but the form. But it is a little interesting, and I noticed it every time he shot tonight. But anyways,
yeah, I think that's his shooting form is naturally he likes to high arc it and fade out of it, and he likes to get that advantage. And maybe that just happens to be what he does on the perimeter. I also noticed that he likes to bounce his he bounces his feet, so when he jumps again. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but he does this quick double hop, and it's it's kind of interesting to see. I've never done that before as a former basketball potato, but cool to see. I would love to drive right and shoot like Reggie Miller because it would always kind of have that momentum swing and correct my shot. It would correct my shot that would always go right. And so I think what you're saying is kind of correct, that he's trying to overcorrect it by kind of veering right because he's seeing his shot go left and then his shot goes right. Yep. Right, so maybe he's in the moment he's thinking, "Oh, it's going to go right," but then he's aligned.
I think that's what's happening. I think that is what is happening, at least tonight. We'll put him in A. This was a good Jaden game, and I've been hard on him lately.
I was actually going to say B sounds good too, but A would have been we see him. I didn't see him. He was just kind of killing it without needing to be
which is
relying on him.
The perfect Jaden game, really. That's just how it is. True. So
yeah. Well, he killed it up there, and I think Lowry went 5 for 16, and a lot of it was due to Jaden McDaniels out there. And 32 minutes out there. That's maybe like not a record for him or whatever, but he usually is on the bench for 32 minutes. So, okay, and I think I wouldn't say the player of the night, but it felt like the player who willed this team alongside Baby Mac to a win in classic Timberwolves fashion. A1 from day one, Anthony Edwards, 38 minutes and a half, 9 for 21, 4 for 12 from 12 3-point attempts. Damn. 7 rebounds. I want to say that. 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals.
Wow.
4 turnovers. A block shot. The block shot heard around the world.
That was
pretty insane. And a team, not high, but I don't know. I'm just going to say team second highest, 22 points.
Yep.
And it probably could have been 32. But anyways.
Yeah.
A grade for our Anthony Edwards in 3, 2, 1.
A.
A.
You were going to say B.
I was. It's our show. I can do whatever they want. I'm going to edit this shit out.
Yeah, it's true. I think this was just a fun game to watch from Ant. I think there's just, that play we were just talking about. Whoa, watching from the Bahamas. Outstanding stream. I appreciate you, Charles. Thank you.
I also appreciate you.
But yeah, the perfect play was just like the block and then the immediate 3-point on the other end. Like that's a basketball play. That's a thing that good basketball teams do.
Yeah.
And it happened to the Timberwolves. And I felt happy. So that's why I gave him an A. But no, really, I mean, this was a good game defensively, offensively. There was a point in the game where I was like, he's getting every rebound.
Yeah,
and
he's getting every rebound.
I was like, I kept waiting for Michael, because Dave Benz used to be great about like every rebound somebody would get. He'd be like, and they're up to 2 rebounds. But like Michael Grady doesn't do that as much, which is probably good. But I kept waiting for it because I was like, I feel like Ant's going to have over 10 rebounds tonight. He just kept getting them. He was even jumping higher than Gobert at times to get the rebounds. So yeah, no, I think it was just a really well-rounded game for Ant. 4 steals is insane. 22 points, obviously, you maybe could have had a little better efficiency, especially from 3. 4 of 12 isn't amazing, but he made buckets when it mattered. He got that run started in the third quarter and won us the game.
Yeah, that run won us the game for sure. And ride that momentum all the way in the fourth. When it got a little tricky, we could still kind of, reap the benefits of that run that brought us there. At one point, we were up like 25 points in the third quarter. It ended up being like we were up 19 or whatever. It was like 37 something. But that was like crazy. MBB says, I don't know if I can watch anymore. They're undefeated in games I miss.
All right, MBB, you're canceled.
You're canceled. And I also feel strongly about the fact that we were down 18 when I was watching, and I wasn't watching the past few previous games. We won those, and I was like, "Oh no, am I what's happening here? Am I the reason why we've been bad for 30 years?" Like that's what was going through my mind.
No, just remember that the reason that we are bad is all because of John Krasinski. John Krasinski started covering the team, I think the year that they traded Kevin Garnett.
Oh, wow. Really?
He's been there since the beginning of terribleness.
Wow.
So it's just remember, it's never our fault. It's John Krasinski's fault.
Mm-hmm. Ant didn't have it going early, and it was cool to have Cat recognize that and just like take over the game. It was cool to have D'Lo not take very many shots and just have Cat take over the game. Ant was just playing well, playing within the offense, but like not over forcing it. And I thought that's okay. It's a mark of like I know when I have it or not. Halftime adjustments, it seemed like he was a different player in the second half. It looks like he came ready to play, ready to take over the box score at least, and just like chunk out this game and celebrate it in the locker room. I felt it. I felt like this game became his in the second half. I felt like he had this like air about him that was like, this is my game, this is my team, I'm going to run this thing. And there were moments where he could have had an easy assist to Gobert, and he's like, no, I'm going to take this shot instead. Sorry, man. And just like in ways like against a team like the Heat that we were probably expecting to win, and we were still trying to crawl back from a deficit, I actually am okay with some of that kind of stuff. The arrogance that he brings is good. We don't have that outside of him. We don't have any of that. And I think we need some player that's cocky, that's going to take over the game, that's going to be a the momentum kind of builder, starter, as well as like finisher. And I want this to be his team more than anything. And we're still trying to figure how to integrate everyone. And I think my biggest praise for him is his patience with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was going to say this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I hope like it's going to come out all right. Like watching that like interview with his college coach really brought me like back to like what he was as a player.
Mm-hmm.
He was a selfish player. He was probably ingrained from like day one as a football player, as a basketball player. He's the only athlete out there.
Yeah.
So he's just going to dominate you. And he was bigger, stronger, taller, everything than you, right? So he's going to jump out of the gym, catch every ball. No one questioned it. No one, tested it. And then here he's in college, and his team kind of sucks, right? Like he's in Georgia. He's not like in an A1 school or whatever, top tier school. He can't really, show a team that he, can be part of a team. He's just still keeping Georgia afloat by his own raw talent.
Yeah.
In a game like today, he just kind of played raw talent and won the game for us, like I think. But what he is giving us is a nod to it's going to be his team, but he's patient. And he's trying to play with the team. He's trying to encourage passing, encourage other players to get involved. It's just like, sometimes you see it where he's just sitting in the corner. Sometimes you see it where he's like sagging off on defenders and you're not really seeing. But like when he's on the ball, man, I love him on the ball. Mm-hmm. I don't see a defensive player like that very often on the Timberwolves wanting to play defense aggressively on the ball. I love it. And I want more of it. And I think that's a play by a leader. That's a leader by play. Like, mm-hmm. And then he has that moxie, that swagger, and I think that really makes me excited about the future of this team, the current roster as well as the future of this team.
Yeah, I think some things have changed also since when we did our. We've done shows since. Well, I don't know when the last show that we had that was not happy. So before this winning streak, we were kind of talking about how in all season we've been talking about how this just needs to be Ant's team. It can't be Carl's team anymore. It can't be Gobert's team. It definitely can't be D'Lo's team. But like this is just Ant's time. Like Ant needs to be the guy doing it, and they did kind of change. And Ant has been doing more in these last 4 games, where he's been more of the leader and more of the go-to guy. And I think that just needs to happen. And that's going to lead to winning, and we need to learn to play that way. It's going to take time to learn to play that way since we've been going through towns for the better part of a decade. So yeah, it takes time, but I think that is what's going to win you games. So I'm happy to see that he's the one getting a lot of these buckets, getting a lot of these opportunities. And, even though he hasn't been super efficient over the last 4 games, one of these games I can't remember, it was pretty bad, but still, like he's making buckets that matter, and it's changing the outcome of games. So yeah, it's just got to be Ant, and then everybody else just needs to learn how to fall in around him. So,
yep.
Cool.
I just want to say also against the Miami B squad, as Godfrey's pointing out, we lost most of the battles. We lost the kind of like the hustle stats. We lost the rebound battle, the getting to the line battle, right? Mm-hmm. The points in the paint kind of stuff.
So many rebounds lost.
So we won the game. We won the game. That's great. But we have so much room to improve.
We really do. And that's what I was really, I said this going into the season, but like I was really hopeful that I knew it was going to take time to learn this, for this team to learn each other, learn a system that they're going to play, whatever it is. And I was just hopeful that since we had an easier first 7 games of the season, that we could like win and learn as we win instead of lose and try to learn.
Yes.
And
I hate those like moral victories.
Yeah,
I hate that crap. I hate those speeches. That's like, hey man, at least we got 10 rebounds from you tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's what we've needed. And to win tonight's game, even though we were beat a lot, is a great sign, just of the potential that this team can have once we really, because I think any Timberwolves fan out there doesn't look back at this game and say, wow, this was my favorite Timberwolves game ever to watch. Because, like, obviously we were down almost 20 at a point. But, like, we had good moments in this game. And if we can have consistent good moments and consistent good play like this throughout, good teams show up in the late game situations, and we did. So even though the first half Towns was good, the rest of the team wasn't but it works. And eventually also buckets are just going to start to happen, and you just have to be energetic the whole time, because once they start going in, you could really start getting on a run. But
and we won despite the fact that we spent $70 million for 7 points tonight.
That's true. That is very true.
Like, we're just going to be better.
Godfrey, you're bringing me back down to earth. You're saying, wait, no, that was JBX's comment. Wolves on pace for a 43-win season. Hey, we're not going to talk like that yet. We're only a quarter of the way through the season. No, I don't know.
We'll get there. We'll be there.
We will be there eventually. And Godfrey, we know you'll be here. Yeah. But for right now, also, I'm sure JJ will join us once we get to that point too. But yes, we were on pace for 82 wins after the first game. JBX, the eternal optimist. I love it.
Urinal
Caca says being on pace for wins means nothing. Hey, don't you talk to Godfrey like that. But welcome to the stream. But yes. Also, I mean, 9 and 8. We're going to do the pointless thing that I did at the end of last stream and a couple other streams.
Sure.
Where are we in the standings?
Where are we? What are we doing?
What are we doing? We are still in 10th. So we're still in the play-in, and we don't even have home court advantage. So that sucks. But we are only 2.5 games out of first place. So this is pointless. There's no reason to pay attention to that. But the more we can win, the better. JBX a realist. Yes, true.
Yep. Kings are winning. Jazz are winning. What is this world, right?
Kings are winning. Light the beam or whatever they're doing. I don't know. I haven't been following that much. I just see it on Twitter, and I don't know what that means. So
good for Kings, man. They need to win sometime.
Kings and Timberwolves deserve some playoff wins.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's it for us tonight. Any last thoughts from you?
Nope. I'm looking forward to the next series of games that I may or may not be a part of.
Well, I think I'll be here on Wednesday's game, but I'm not sure about, I think, Friday and Sunday's games. Oh, yeah, we should look at the schedule and name them off real quick. I think we're playing – oh, I'm too hot.
What's up, internal temp?
But let's see. Well, this is my – it's telling me to go away. But we play we play the Pacers on Wednesday, Hornets on Friday, and then the Warriors on Sunday. Kind of an interesting schedule.
Let's do that. Let's do that 3 for 3. Let's win them all. Let's be good about it.
That would be really nice.
Take care of business.
I'll be really happy.
Same here.
But I might not be here for Friday or Sunday. Anyways, as always, you can't see me, and I'm not gonna. My camera's not gonna turn back on. So
for those who are tuning in just now, it's a solo show with 2 voices in my head.
And it's just this blackness here. You can't see literally anything. Yeah. Okay. Intro as the out. Oh wait, I forgot. 52 wins, or I guess 43 wins.
Still in play.
43 wins is still in play. But a 45-point win would be nice. I'm all out of the place. My camera dying through me.
It's that Seattle air, man. You gotta stop poking it up so much.
Intro as the outro. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
Oh man.
Peace, I guess. That's it.
Peace, I guess.
Bye-bye.